John Arrowsmith, Tactica Sacra, episode 17. Here's the conclusion of the long quote from Valentinus Smalcius, which Arrowsmith includes in his text. Sed ad praedictionis complementum sufficere, quod homini data sit potestas superandi serpentem, quem odio habituris erat, quomodocunque tandem id accipiatur. As this portion begins, you notice that we have the sufficere. So sufficere is a present infinitive active, and we have the infinitive here because this is a continuation of the indirect statement. The indirect statement is in the previous episode, the introduction to it, and it's illa asseruerit, that man asserted or he claims, and that was Valentinus Smalcius, but that it suffices, it's adequate for the fulfillment of the prophecy, praedictionis complementum. And once again, this is a reference to Genesis 3:15, the proto-evangelium. It's sufficient for the fulfillment of the prophecy that quod power potestas of conquering the serpent was granted to a human being, quod homini data sit potestas, etc. The serpent whom, quem, he would hold in hatred, or whom he hated, irregardless, for those who are very particular about their English, we would probably just say regardless, but irregardless is simply emphatic, regardless of how, in the end, the passage is understood. Now we'll talk about the grammar in a little more detail. As we said, it begins with sed here, the adversative conjunction. We then have a prepositional phrase. Complementum is the objective odd. It's neuter, singular, and accusative. I'm taking it as fulfillment. Praedictionis is a feminine singular genitive. For the fulfillment of the prophecy, it is adequate. Sufficere, there's the infinitive. That, quod, the potestas, that's the feminine singular nominative. It's the subject of this subordinate clause. That the power of conquering the serpent. Superandi is a gerund, of course, and it's taking serpentem in the masculine singular and accusative as its object. That will in turn introduce a relative clause, but we'll deal with that in a moment. So it's adequate that power of conquering the serpent, data sit, was granted to man. Homini, masculine singular dative, the indirect object, objectum obliquum, and data sit is our perfect subjunctive passive verb in the indirect statement, thus subjunctive. It's the third singular. Power of conquering that serpent, the one whom, odio, this is a neuter singular ablative. It is a second declension noun, odium, like so, odium, e, and neuter. So that serpent whom he would hold in hatred, no matter how, quomodocunque, no matter how, in the end, or finally, in the last analysis, id, meaning the whole phrase, the whole idea contained in Genesis 3:15, the whole proto-evangelium, no matter how, in the end, it is taken. So accipiatur here we should understand as something like no matter how it is understood or explained or exegeted, something along those lines. It is itself a third singular present subjunctive active. If you want to read a more polished translation of this second part, I have offered it for you here. If you enjoyed that little video lesson, please go ahead and subscribe for us, click the bell, and so forth. Check out the other videos on this page, leave a comment, and please be sure to check out our Patreon page as well.